Is it possible the makers understand how incredible this film is? You only get to watch this for the first time once, so choose your state of mind carefully. It is a film about movies and dreams and reality, and what sort of life it is best to find when you leave the cinema and return to whatever you left to enter. It is spectacular, and brutal, and enigmatic and disturbing. It is beautiful and absorbing. It is about one of my favorite characters ever to grace the screen. I don't see it often, in case it's not as good as I like to remember it. That is my secret, that I lock away in my safe in the basement. That somewhere there is a perfect world for us all. For some, perhaps it is in the cinema watching this. Inception was only less shocking to me than The Matrix. When you wake up from a good dream, you feel the reality is harsh. When you wake up after a bad dream, you will be sentimentally attached to the beauty of reality. But as long as life is good, reality and dreams don't matter. Amazing directing, captivating plot, overall great. I had the privilege of seeing this movie before it came out, and, like most of DiCaprio's films, it blew me away. Inception is a well-made movie, filmed in about 6 locations all over the world. The directing was outstanding. There were only about 2 moments, maybe 3 seconds in total, where I noticed that visual effects were being used. Of course, defying gravity is pretty difficult. The plot was very pleasingly intricate, with a twist and turn, keep you on the edge of your seat type feel. I noticed that this film had similarities with DiCaprio's thriller Shutter Island, which I also enjoyed very much seeing as it left you wondering what was real and what was not. It's great to see a movie with a thick and emotional plot, and not just grenade-throwing action heroes who achieve greatness in the end. Inception also has a very well-composed score, which to me was the finishing touch to a perfect movie. If you're thinking about seeing Inception, definitely go. Even though I was fortunate enough to see a free show, it is worth every penny you pay. Truly unique, like nothing I've ever seen before. Christopher Nolan certainly covered new ground with this film and wasn't afraid to leave us hanging with a spectacular ending. Still holds weight. To this day, this movie is still one of Christopher Nolan's best. Convoluted and ridiculous to some. A cinematic masterpiece with immense, complex storytelling to others. A movie you always want to show to people who haven't seen it yet. Requires concentration. An incredibly unique film which deserves its plaudits purely for the intelligent world created. Whilst extremely complex, the science allowing the story to unfold is explained for the most part, although I imagine everyone loses the plot on a first viewing at some point. For me, I was okay until the very final Saito scene. It keeps you engaged throughout, and I think you're rooting for the right people, although in reality the overarching reason to undergo the entire film is a little weak, possibly skimmed over, and purely a vehicle to discover the world of dreams. Visually it cannot be faulted, and the pairing with the music works excellently as well. You're constantly drawn into the film without it ever being something that will get your heart racing, more interesting than compelling. Having said that, it is really one of a kind, at least at this level, and so everyone should see Inception, if only to appreciate the depth Nolan went into. Hands down one of the best. This movie was breathtaking and a great treat. Christopher Nolan is no doubt one of the best Hollywood actors and has proved it in this film. We all know that Hollywood movies are highly appreciated for their sophisticated and lively effects. The presentation was graceful. I can't express my feelings, no words reach the skills in making this movie. Outstanding picturization, compiled with a scintillating storyline. Every second the story comes up with a thought-provoking twist. The story tells us about a person who enters in someone's dream and steals their ideas, but the challenging part comes up when he is supposed to plant an idea in someone's head on the cost of his family. The complicated mystery of her wife kept me engrossed in the movie till the end. I was shocked when I realized Ken Watanabe was the very old man shown at the beginning. The movie also leaves us in the thought that whether Christopher at last reached his home or was trapped in his own dreams. The tumbling dice acts as the cherry on the pudding. Insipid. Nolan has made some of the dreariest films in recent memory, but this incomprehensible nonsense takes the cake. While keeping a straight face, actors deliver lines such as "dreams within dreams is too unstable, and if we get killed we'll be lost in limbo till our brains turn into scrambled egg." DiCaprio and company supply the ham. This movie tells us that 10 hours of real time is equivalent to 1 week of dream time. That explains why this nightmare of a movie feels like it goes on for 2 days despite the running time of 2.5 hours. And if one falls asleep while watching, the only way to resume one's normal life is to limbo under a totem pole. Slogging work to watch. The only moments that had dreamlike qualities in the movie were the times I dozed off and my own dreams, many times more imaginative I might add, took over. To be blunt about it, Inception is not so much about dreams as about the world of video games. Even more telling than the gratuitous CGI effects was the clunky narrative device of having the characters explain in overly verbose dialogue where and when each segment was taking place, levels, locations, psychological motivations, etc. Like having to follow instructions of a poorly designed game. Ugh. The popularity of this snoozer is very sad testimony to the mediocrity of the average movie-going intelligence. Inception, the best and confusing movie at the same time. Inception, 2010, is a spectacular movie that blows everyone's mind during 2010. This is one of the best movie Christopher Nolan ever made. The movie have good storylines and plot twist. Some of the storyline doesn't make sense, but it is still good. They chose perfect actor for the roles. Leonardo DiCaprio and Elliot Page's acting was out of the world. I will give this movie a 9.5 because some of the scenes are confusing. Most brilliant cinema ever made in cinema history. I love Inception. It is by far the best movie that I have ever seen. It is very intense, at least after the first hour and 2 minutes, and has a great ending. You will love this movie if you can understand it. If you can deal with complicated plots, you will enjoy this movie, especially if you rewatch it like I do. There is a bit of exposition from around the 200 hours mark to the 102 mark, but Nolan knew he had to take time to explain the dream, because without it, much more people would have a hard time understanding Inception. Outrageously great. Out of all the Christopher Nolan movies, I like this one the best. The story and script is remarkable. The CGI action sequences were at the height of their time. Movies today I am still the same output of production when making CGI movies. This movie was the platform or pillar for movie action scientific genres that were accelerated in the early 2010 era. Leo is typical Leo. Which to say the least is very very good. Every single role he does. Tom Hardy also had a good role. Jason Gordon-Levitt was great. Elliot Page and Marianne were awesome too. Pay attention. Leonardo DiCaprio, Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Ken Watanabe all give wonderful performances. The music by Hans Zimmer is epic. Before The Dark Knight, this I have to say is Christopher Nolan's biggest achievement despite all the criticism that he gets from general moviegoers who claim that it's too confusing. Yes, it does have a lot going on but the fact of the matter is that the movie makes a whole lot more sense. It makes you think about it. If you actually focus and pay attention to what's going on, this is not a movie where you can tune out for like 10 minutes and then catch up to what is going on. Otherwise you'll just be concerned and confused for the rest of the film, wondering why something such as the top is so important. While not for everyone, truly amazing. While this is definitely a somewhat complex science fiction movie, which isn't for everyone, it's really a story about a man trying to accept the loss of his wife and return home. With that great layered story, amazing visuals, and top-notch acting, particularly by Leo DiCaprio, this movie really is nearly perfect. Breathtaking. You do need to pay attention to the film, you can't be scrolling through your phone at the same time, but it does pay off. For me the only problem is that after having watched it, every time I go back, I can't enjoy it as much, because I know what's going on and how it ends. Other than that, it's one of my absolute favorites. Good idea lost in the noise. The central idea of Inception is an interesting one. Technology exists to enter other people's dreams in order to steal their most private secrets or to implant new ideas. With Christopher Nolan of Memento fame as writer and director, this should have been a smart, compelling movie. Unfortunately, Inception is a bloated failure. The root problem is that Nolan replaces the fascinating surrealism of dream worlds with lengthy outtakes from James Bond movies. For example, early in the film, when Cobb and Ariadne are sitting at a cafe in a dream world, Cobb tells Ariadne to stay calm. What's going to happen? Is the waiter going to bring her a glass full of wriggling eyeballs? Is she going to turn around and see her best friend from high school having sex with Abraham Lincoln? No. Things start exploding. And that's the whole movie in a nutshell. Gaudy special effects and endless fight scenes as a poor substitute for imaginative ideas. The Matryoshka doll plot of dreams within dreams isn't nearly as hard to follow as one might imagine. This is largely because nothing of consequence happens at higher levels once our heroes have moved on to deeper levels. The higher level supporting actors just fight off bad guys and overblown special effects until it's time to bring back their colleagues from the depths. Nolan should sit back, watch a few of the best movies by Luis Buñuel and David Lynch, and try again with 1/10 the budget and 10 times the imagination. Okay, that's never gonna happen, but it's my dream. Unbelievably genius. This is the work of a true maestro. I have never seen anything like this, it's art in its purest form. This movie is beyond unique. Christopher Nolan's mastery of filmmaking is second to none. He is literally one of the best filmmakers, the best emo of all time without a doubt, and he proved it with The Dark Knight in 2008, and cemented it with Inception in 2010. Both of them are counted among the greatest movies ever created. Inception is the most innovative and incredible sci-fi showcase in the history of cinema. I cannot even imagine the thought process that went into creating such a concept which is so incredibly complex. Nolan perfectly crafted a world of his own which is so mesmerizing that it feels completely real. Everything about this movie, acting, writing, direction, background score and character development, is bloody top-notch. If you watched Inception in an IMAX theater, you're one of the lucky ones. Long story short, you can't skip this movie and say that you love cinema. Inception is an experience, one that you can't afford to miss. How about you? What is your review on this movie? Tell us in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe.